Hello and welcome back to another tutorial video. Sorry this is a bit late, so today we have a viewer request by KeenFX on how to spawn multiple vehicle on one trigger at one marker, then have them follow a set of waypoints and complete an action like search and destroy. Well, to be frank, I'm no expert and I don't know how to spawn multiple vehicles on one marker with one trigger and then giving those vehicles a task. I'm very sure you have to use a script for that, and that won't fit into the idea of a made-simple video, so I apologize for that. However, I can show you how to spawn a vehicle on a marker with a trigger, then afterwards I'll show you my take on how close I can get to fulfilling the request. Right, before we start, there will be a link to a made-simple video on trigger in the description below. It's basically just me trying to explain what the trigger is and roughly how it works. So, if you're not familiar with triggers, then I recommend that you take a look at that before coming to this one. Else you can just follow along your call, right? So let's go. Alright, now that we have loaded in, I'm going to show you how to spawn a vehicle on a marker with a trigger, okay? Now with anything to do with testing and stuff like that, you will always want a playable character, right? So let's place one down so that you can interact with the world later on. And then let's place down a trigger. Okay. We're not going to configure this trigger yet, because we're just going to place down the things that we need so that you won't miss out anything, alright? Now the last thing that we need for this demo would be a marker. It doesn't matter what marker you choose, as long as you know where it is. The most important point, or rather, is where you place the marker, because that is where the vehicle will appear. Okay, so allocate your markers accordingly to your scenario and stuff like that, right? If you're doing testing, anywhere will do. You don't have to. There is no restriction. All right. Now that we have this a playable character, a trigger, and a marker, let's go and configure the marker first. Okay. So we're going to double click it. Under variable name, give it a appropriate name. In my case, I will be giving it a name like marker1. Alright. Now here's a short explanation. Variable name is what the game sees, or rather what the system sees. Text is what players see. So make sure the naming that you're going to give is under the variable name text box. Okay. Now under the marker style, you don't really have to fiddle with anything. I'm going to give it red so you can see easily. Likewise for alpha, you don't have to fiddle anything. Right, press OK when you're done. Now go into the trigger, double click. Under the transformation, I'm going to shrink the size down to 1 meter by 1 meter by 2 meters. I think that's a good size, yeah? So you come down a little bit more. Under activation drop down box, I'm going to choose any player, but if you're building a scenario, use the appropriate option, right? Then under activation type, which will light up, make sure it's present, so don't touch it. Now, further downwards a little bit, you will see an on activation text box, right? Now I'm going to paste this code down here. I'm going to explain to you what it is. So as you can see here, quotation marks, within the first quotation mark, RHS underscore M2A2, that is the class name of an object. I'll show you how to get the class name later on, so don't worry about that. Then afterwards, it goes on to createVehicle, space getMarkerPos. So createVehicle and getMarkerPos are two separate functions, right? You can find this sort of functions. There's a lot, by the way. So you can find this sort of functions in the Bohemia Interactive Community Wiki. Oh, that's a mouthful. It will be in the link down in the video description. Okay. Then the last quotation mark, marker1. So in my case, I gave my marker variable name marker1. Okay. Yours might be different, I don't know. Okay, just make sure it's according to what you gave, right? Then we end it with a semicolon. Make sure now this semicolon is really important. Say for example you are missing, a semicolon, right? You might press OK and it might return you an error. That's fine. At least you know there is a mistake. Worst case scenario is that you press OK, you go into the game, you play the scenario, the day itself, and then you try to activate this trigger. It doesn't work and it returns you an error. That's even worse, isn't it? So make sure you have your semicolon, make sure you check through before actually, finalizing everything, okay? So in this case, we're doing a test, so you don't really have to look out for anything. You can come back to this later on, So once you're satisfied, make sure you have your class name of the vehicle, or rather the object, if you know where to find it. Else, once we press OK, I'll show you how to find it, okay? So once you're done, class name, create vehicles, then getMarkerPos, and then your marker's variable name, end with a semicolon. Okay, press OK. Right, now let's go find this class name. Okay, let's go find the specific object that I put it down earlier. So in this case, it would be a mod, an object from a mod. Okay, so take a look at this. M2A2 ODS, first row. Second row will be RHS underscore M2A2. Now the first row is where the name of an object would be, like for example Brown Building or AH64 Apache, or maybe say Rifleman AT, something like that. Okay, names that people will see. Now at the second row are class names. Now some class names are not as simple as RHS underscore M2A2. For example, if you were to go to the vanilla ones, look at this gunner. So B underscore support underscore GMG underscore F, right? So it really depends on if it's vanilla or if it's mod, or depends on how different people do it. But generally, the bottom row is your class name. Okay, so you can go look for it and then put it back into the trigger, right? So let's go back to the 3D view. Okay, I'm gonna put this trigger somewhere here, and then you can beautify or rather rearrange some of your stuff right now, as I'm gonna do it also. Okay, so I always have a habit. I always have cones at the four corners of the trigger if I'm doing some sort of a testing. Alright. Reason being is that the minute you play as this character, you will not be able to see this bounding box. I call this a bounding box, I guess. Yeah, once you play as a character, you will not be able to see this, so you might not know where you're stepping. Hence, this all these cones will actually give me a rough idea where I will be stepping into. You'll see later on. Alright. So once you're satisfied with everything, your trigger is done up, your marker is placed wherever you want, and you gave it a proper name. Go ahead and press play scenario. Alright, now that we have loaded into the scenario, as you can see, we are not able to see the trigger's bounding box, except for the cones that I placed down earlier. Hence, this is why I placed the cone. Alright, so I'm going to step in into this the zone. Alright, and then a Bradley will spawn in front of me. Oh, that's a bit too close, holy shit. Yeah, so this is what it is, and this is how you use a trigger on to spawn a vehicle on a marker. Okay, so let's get back out, and then I'll show you my take on how I can fulfill this request as close as possible. Alright, we also start from fresh, so in other words, we're gonna start from scratch, from nothing to something. Okay, let's get back out there. Right, so we're out here. I've gone ahead and actually deleted everything, as you can see from the left panel under entities. Now, I will go a little bit slower. Alright, this is a bit, it might seem complicated, but once you understand how it works, it shouldn't be that complicated. Okay, if you have watched the previous video, it is really similar to how what I showed you guys in the previous triggers video at the end of it. Yeah, so you might want to check that out too. Okay, so since we are doing a demo, playable character is very important to interact with the world. Trigger. We're gonna put down a trigger. Once again, we're not gonna touch anything yet. We just want to place down the things that we need so that you won't miss. You won't either forget something or you might misplace something, stuff like that. Okay. So next, so we have a playable character. We have a trigger. Next, under systems, under object modifiers, place down 2 times show height module. 1, 2. Alright. So we're gonna spawn vehicles and give them a task, right? So let's go to objects, and I'll just use something vanilla, I guess. A vehicle? A car would be nice. Let me see. Polaris? Yeah, why not really? Okay, so let's place down how many? 3? 1. Oh, they're facing the other way. 2, 3. Alright. Right click has issues. This is not good. Okay, I'm gonna place them facing towards the right side. Okay, good. So let's update a little bit. Playable character, done. We have trigger. We have 2 times show height module, and 1 times a group of 3 vehicles. Okay. It doesn't need to be 3. You can have like infantry or whatsoever. It's up to you. Okay. So let's configure them. Let's start with maybe say this group. Alright, the AI group. So double click on the grouping. Takes a while, I have 100 mods though. Right. So in this case, I want them to not, go anywhere else. So I'm going to put their behavior to safe. Formation will be column for me, and then full speed. Okay. You don't have to follow. Just act accordingly to what you want your scenario to play out as. It's completely fine. Okay. You don't have to configure anything else. Just press OK. All right. Now under the show height module, I want to have one module that has show and one module that has height. Okay. If you've watched the previous video, you understand what I mean. So let's go into the left side. I'm going to set to show. Press OK. Right side is default, is height, so it doesn't matter. Now this is my personal preference, and this is more of like a habit, I guess. My left side will always be show, and my right side will always be height. Alright. So maybe you can come up with something your own. It will actually help. Alright. Now under the trigger, double click, shrink the trigger. So maybe it's 1, 2, yeah, 1 meter by 1 meter by 2 meters. Activation, this is again your call. For me, it's any player. Activation type present. Okay, done. Okay, just press OK. Good. Now, we're not done yet. We still gotta give these guys, this vehicle group a task, and we also have to link all of this up. Okay, so trigger, right click, select the trigger, and then right click it. Under connect, sync to. Now you see this web down here. You need to sync to the module that has the show, or rather the module that is set to show. In my case, it's on my left. Right. Now from that module, same thing. Right click, connect, sync to. Okay, you see this blue web, sync to the vehicle in the front. Okay, done. Okay, this line is done, but not done, not completely done. All right. Now the module that is set to height, click on it, right click, connect, sync to same vehicle, the front vehicle, done. Now lastly, give this the vehicle group task. I don't know. How about we have them move, because I'm coming in from this way, so maybe move from my left to my right. Yeah. And then maybe a seek and destroy mark a waypoint, and then away from me. Kinda good, I guess. Okay. So another thing is that this is my personal habit, because if I'm doing a convoy, then I'll have them spread out a little bit more, just so that the AI don't go bonkers and then start colliding each other. That'd be awkward. Alright. So let me explain how it's gonna go. At the start of scenario, everything will be hidden. Well, everything, what I mean by everything is this this vehicle group will be hidden. Alright. The minute I step into the trigger, yeah, it will activate this module, which then will spawn, or rather show this group. Alright. The minute this group appears, they will move from my left to my right towards this waypoint. Yeah. And then afterwards, it will go away from me towards this seek and destroy waypoint. Okay. Now there's nothing to destroy in this demo, so they will just, I guess, roam around somewhere. Alright. So let's go test it out for real this time. Alright. So I just need to know that this marker is here. I'm not gonna put down the cones. It's tad bit time consuming, but then again, always have or rather, I would recommend that you have a habit of putting things like cones or something to denote the edges of the marker, or rather the scan zone, so that you know where you're walking into. It's for testing anyway, you know. Anyway, let's just press play scenario and see how it goes. Right, as you can see, nothing's in front of me, not even the scan zone. Hence, this is why I say, you know, it'd be nice to have, you know, something to mark out your area that you're gonna step into. So at least you can know where is it. I know it's in front of me, but you know, you might forget and place it somewhere else. Alright, anyway. So in front of me is a trigger, and then you will see nothing around me right now. I guess, you know, the vehicle's somewhere in front of me. So I'm gonna try walking towards the trigger, and while looking at this direction, see if they spawn. Oh, okay, good. So they'll move. So it's a bit loud. Alright, this guy will move from my left to my right, and then away from me. Yeah, towards the seek and destroy waypoint. Okay, so they're gonna go seeking for nothingness because there's nothing to destroy. Okay, so let's get back out. I'm gonna show you something a little bit extra. You don't have to follow this time around. Just make sure you get this part right. Okay, if you are intending to do something similar. Okay, so we're back out here. This is it's still a similar setup. I'm gonna move these guys up a little bit. Alright, make space for something else. Right. So the logic is more of this area, the 2 show height module and the trigger itself. It doesn't concern this group because this group only appears and disappears, or rather you are you're syncing this module towards this group. It could be anything. Let me show you. Alright, maybe say I'll get how about this? We have another faction. Alright, I'm gonna show you that you can do it with another faction. Alright, obviously I'm not gonna do all 4 of this, you're gonna murder me straight up. Alright, maybe something small. I don't know, sniper team. What team is small? Okay, fire team. Alright, okay, show you something else. How about something like Noah City? I'm gonna show you that it's not only limited to AI objects. You could use things like a building. Okay, just orient them something nicer a little bit. Yeah, that works. Still, we're gonna configure this group because AI entity, AI logic, stuff like that. Okay, gonna go fast. Alright, somewhere like that. Maybe staggered column would be nice. Press OK. Same thing. Connect sync to. Connect sync to. Likewise for the building. Connect sync to. Connect sync to. Right? The logic is still there. You walking in, or rather, whatever this trigger being activated by something, then it will spawn, or rather, it will show the vehicle group, infantry group, and this building. Okay. Technically, it will go like how we did earlier, but just with the addition of an infantry unit, infantry group, and this building. Okay. Let's go check it out. Right, here we are for the last time. As you can see, it's nothing. No building, no infantry, no vehicles. So I'm gonna walk into it. 3 things will appear: infantry group, vehicle group, and tall building. Okay. Ta-da! Right. Oh wait, I forgot to give these guys what you call that? A task. So technically, it will still work. Don't worry about it. You have my word. Alright, fair enough. Let's get back out. Yep, so this is what it is. You still can give them a task, it doesn't matter. Alright, you can just move to infinity and beyond for all I care. The logic still stays. More like the logic is limited to this grouping here, this smaller group here, the 2 show height module and this 1 trigger. It's very important. Make sure you set this up right, else all of this will not work. Okay? This demo also shows that you can do it with a building, with another faction. You can even add an op 4 faction. I'm just not gonna do it because the minute they spawn, they'll obviously shoot me, But yeah, you can sync up as many groups, individual objects like buildings or stuff like that, as many as you want. I don't think there's a limit. If anyone knows if there's a limit, then please do comment down in the comment section below so everybody can learn. Alright. So yeah, this is pretty much for this demo, right? That's all I have for today. If you have any suggestions that you think would benefit a new or newer player, then feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Well, with that, take care and I'll see you soon. Bye!